One of the greatest singers of our time, Cecilia Bartoli, in concert with the renowned conductor Nikolaus Harnoncourt. Tomorrow at 9 on BBC 4.
For your free guide on how to get BBC 4, call 08700 100 789.
This is BBC 2 with a news summary from Darren Jordan.
Good afternoon. A second defendant has been acquitted in the Damilola Taylor murder trial. The 15-year-old boy was found not guilty on the direction of the judge at the Old Bailey. A 17-year-old youth was cleared last month. Two teenage brothers remain on trial. They've denied killing Damilola in Peckham, South London, in November 2000.
Lawyers for the acquitted boy emerged from the Old Bailey, their work done. Their 15-year-old client, who cannot be identified because he's a minor, was in custody for 9 months after being charged with Damilola Taylor's murder. Today they had the satisfaction of seeing him walk free.
My client is deeply relieved that justice has been done and that he's been exonerated of involvement in this terrible and tragic incident. And that is all I'm allowed to say and all I can say at the present moment.
Their client was acquitted when the judge told the jury he'd decided as a matter of law that the only proper verdict was not guilty. In court, the boy remained expressionless as the jury, on the instructions of Mr. Justice Hooper, returned its verdict of not guilty. Damilola's father, Richard, held his head in his hands, while his mother, Gloria, sat arms folded and stony-faced. The judge said he was giving no reasons for his decision at this stage.
There's been a disastrous start to the Easter getaway. 4 people have been killed and a number injured in 2 motorway pile-ups, which have caused huge tailbacks. The M5 in Somerset is closed after a lorry crash between junctions 21 and 22. And the M40 was blocked southbound after 100 vehicles collided in thick fog near Oxford between junctions 7 and 6.
It's one of the worst accidents Oxfordshire police say they've ever encountered. More than 100 vehicles caught up in a series of crashes between junctions 5 and 8 on the southbound carriageway of the M40 in Oxfordshire. It all began in heavy fog at about 7 this morning when a motorbike and a van collided. With visibility down to 20 metres at one point and many drivers speeding, other vehicles piled into the crash, resulting in a chain of knock-on accidents up the motorway.
People driving too fast in bad conditions. There was people passing me doing well in excess of 80, 90 miles an hour this morning.
One man, the driver of the motorbike, died immediately. Another driver died in hospital. A second accident brought the M5 to a standstill near Sedgemoor Services in Somerset. 2 people were killed when an articulated lorry collided with a car. With the Easter rush underway, traffic chaos is inevitable.
The United States is to seek the death penalty for the man accused of being part of the conspiracy which led to the terrorist attacks in America on September the 11th. Zacarias Moussaoui is the only person to be charged in connection with the attacks on the World Trade Center in New York and the Pentagon in Washington. He'll go on trial in the autumn. An Arab summit in Beirut has closed with delegates endorsing a Middle East peace plan put forward by Saudi Arabia. But Israel says the Saudi plan is a non-starter. There are growing fears of further violence in the region. It follows last night's suicide bombing in the coastal town of Netanya, which killed at least 20 people and wounded 80. Strikes on Scottish train services run by ScotRail have been called off while staff consider a pay offer. Train drivers have been offered a 14% increase. They were due to stop work next Tuesday and the Tuesday afterwards. Now, it's a sporting tradition which stretches back more than 170 years, but this Saturday's Oxford-Cambridge boat race on the Thames is being brought bang up to date. For the first time, the boats will carry high-tech satellite navigation systems. They'll give BBC viewers much more information about how fast the boats are going and how hard the rowers are working.
Just days before the boat race and the Cambridge crew brace a sharp wind for some last-minute training on the Thames. But this year's contest is unique, as the race will include technology normally used by aircraft or missile guidance systems, which accounts for the aerial transmitter at the end of the boat.
We're putting in a GPS system in the bow of the boat, which will track the position of the boat accurately and give us position, speed and timing.
A few boatyards along and the same set of electronics is being fitted into Oxford's boat.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting something coming in now.
The information first goes to a computer like this before being simplified for TV viewers. The timing will also be more accurate, to less than 1/10 of a second. But if, like in 1978, one of the boats sinks, thousands of pounds worth of high-tech satellite equipment goes down with it.
That's it. There are news bulletins every hour on BBC News 24. I'll be back with the 6 o'clock news on BBC One.
Good afternoon. 3 people, including a 14-year-old boy, have been charged in connection with the death of a man in Gateshead. 24-year-old Lance Stoke was found with stab wounds in Beach Street off Sunderland Road. A 22-year-old Newcastle man has been charged with his murder. The 14-year-old and a 17-year-old girl have been charged with assisting an offender. They're appearing before Gateshead magistrates this afternoon. Conductors employed by Arriva Trains Northern are staging their 4th series of strikes. They've joined ticket office staff on their 2nd day of action this week. It looks increasingly possible that rail commuters could be heading for a summer of disruption. Chris Stewart reports.
The 7th day of action, or inaction to be more accurate, and yet again, all around the station, little sad stories.
They're all on strike. Wonderful.
Have you just had bad news?
I've had very bad news, yes. I don't seem to be able to get to Chester.
Where have you come from?
From Sunderland. I'm going to visit my son and his wife.
Any
For
special
Easter.
reason for that? Just for Easter?
For Easter, yes.
Do you think you'll get there?
Oh, I will, yes. Even if I go by coach, I'll get there. Should have perhaps gone that way to start with, I think.
Like many, she doesn't care who's to blame. She's just fed up. Other travellers managed to beat the strike without even trying. These 3 men all turned up for their train and none of them even knew there was a strike.
What's the date? What's the dispute? I knew it was a dispute about the metro system on 31st.
No, this is an Arriva dispute.
About?
Well, it's the conductor's strike.
Alright, no, I didn't know.
The 650 conductors have been offered a 3% pay rise with a further 5% for productivity. They've told Arriva it isn't enough, and the 2 sides now seem to have reached stalemate.